Wednesday, the 25th of May. Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you once again, and thank you for clicking on our link for today to join us. So I thought, what am I going to be talking about just now? Well, could it be the weather? Because it's absolutely rubbish in Forfar at the moment. The weather, it's sunny, it's wet, sunny, wet. And then what else has been happening? Well, of course, Russia and Ukraine. Could we speak about that? But we've spoken about that before. So I thought, no, let's go for something a bit different. And I was racking my brain. And then I thought, it's the General Assembly, the highest court in the Church of Scotland. So I thought, well, what's been happening in the General Assembly since it started? Well, it started on Saturday, just for a short period of time. And then the business really started on Monday. And of course, the big thing, and I'll be surprised if you've missed it, the big thing is this year that the General Assembly have approved that ministers will be allowed to conduct same-sex marriages. Now, this debate has been going on since I joined the ministry. Every year it's talked about, it was voted down, then it was getting closer, and times have changed and people's views have changed over these years. So it was agreed on Monday that ministers could conduct same-sex marriages. However, there's a thing called the default position in the Church of Scotland in the rules and regulations. The default within this idea of marriages is that you are not allowed to conduct same-sex marriages. That's the default position. So if I want to conduct a same-sex marriage in the church or in a hotel or whatever, I have to seek permission from the Church of Scotland. It would be the principal clerk that we would deal with, but just someone in the Church of Scotland, I have to write and seek permission. Don't really know how or where it happens after that, whether they have to speak to the registrars. I'm not too sure, but it's up to me to make the effort to go and seek that permission. So then there is now another argument arrived. And the next argument is, why should we have a default position at all on this? You're either willing to marry people of the same sex or you're not. And it's up to the minister's concept. It's what the minister decides that whether they agree with it or not. So the next argument I said, which I think is going to get brought next year's General Assembly, is this default position. It should be either you do or you don't. We shouldn't have a default position as though it's still wrong to do it. And it sounds as though you're seeking to do something wrong. So this debate will continue. There's still lots and lots of ministers against it, but there is more and more people for it. Hence why it got through on the vote on Monday. I would say that for me, well, we say everyone is welcome at church. We say it all the time. Come on in, the doors are open. We welcome everybody. And yes, we welcome everybody, but at this moment in time, we don't welcome same-sex couples who want to get married because we physically can't do it. Even at this stage, we physically can't do it still. So all I want to say is all are welcome at Eastern Old Parish Church. All are welcome to come to me if they would like to be married, whether it be heterosexual or of the same sex who want married as well. All are welcome. There is no discrimination by me or Eastern Old Church. So that was one of the things that, well, that was the big thing that was discussed on Monday. And I've jotted down another couple of things that I picked up on. There was quite a lot about the trust funds and the money that the Church of Scotland has. That was a biggie. That went on and on. I must admit, I didn't pay much attention to that one. I should, but I didn't. And then I thought, well, the other thing that came up on Monday also was ministers living in fuel poverty. I don't know if you've heard of that phrase. You probably have over the news, but ministers have been living in fuel poverty for quite a number of years. It's nothing new to us. So one of the ministers brought a suggestion forward to the General Assembly that help should be given to ministers who are living in fuel poverty. Now, I have absolutely no idea what the criteria is to meet that fuel poverty. It will be probably a percentage of your salary, I think. But we're waiting on to see who's going to qualify for it. Now, I know that I'm absolutely privileged and blessed to live in this manse. It is a beautiful house, and I think we have made it into a wonderful home. However, it is big, it is drafty, it is cold, and of course, our heating stays on until it reaches 22 degrees outside. We just can't put it off because the house is just too cold. So when we heard about fuel prices going up, Billy and I decided, let's turn the radiators down one notch. One notch. So we did that. And that was quite a number of weeks ago. In fact, probably about 2 months ago. So 2 months ago, it was still winter, wasn't it, in March? However, we turned it down one notch. And we ended up sitting with jumpers on. And then I was still cold. So I then sat with a fleece on. And then I could just feel the cold air all around the room. When I touched my trousers on my legs, they were cold. I think we managed for 2.5 days. And I said to Billy, I just can't cope with this anymore. We have to put it back to where it was. So, of course, the heating was turned back up. So, that's a long way round of telling you that, I've written it down here, we were paying £275 a month for our gas and electricity. That is now just under £450 a month for gas and electricity. A month, folks. That's what Billy and I are having to pay. As I said, it's a privilege to live in this house, but I wouldn't be doing that if it was my own house. I've suggested to the Kirk Session that they maybe look at buying a more modern house. But the problem with more modern houses is it then becomes our home and the manse wouldn't be used for anything, whereas this manse is used for a lot. But I just want to say £450 a month is unsustainable. Billy and I just cannot afford that. It's just a colossal increase. My salary's not gone up in years because we haven't had a pay rise. Billy's pension doesn't go up very much at all, and if it does, it's by pennies more than anything. I really don't know what we are going to do because it really is cold and I'm not sitting in a cold house. So that's something for the winter to think about. I'm not so much worried over it the summer months. But we'll wait and see what the conditions are for ministers to claim this fuel poverty to see whether we are eligible or not. The last thing I want to mention about the General Assembly to you is we're having a visitor this week. It's the Reverend Dan Scott, or Daniel Scott, and he is the moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church in Canada, the whole of Canada. I read his biography online, and he is an absolute go-getter. He started lots of different things. He's in his church. He's also a part-time lecturer at university. He's a professor. We are so looking forward to hosting him. So Billy and I are picking him up on Friday from Edinburgh, and he'll be staying with us until probably Sunday tea time-ish. That's when he will need to go back to Edinburgh so that he can get his flight back to Canada. But isn't that exciting? And that's one of the good things also about the General Assembly. We get, as well as all the legal stuff, which I'm not so keen on, but we also get guests coming over. And we are very blessed in East and Old, and I am, that we normally get a guest to stay with us for the weekend at the end of the General Assembly. So we're so looking forward to the Reverend Dan coming with us, and he'll be preaching in our church on Sunday. And I hope that you'll be able to join us there to hear what he has to say. What I would say to you is that I have been to the General Assembly twice in my ministerial career. I've hated it twice. It is just not my thing. It's all legalistic stuff. It's the highest court of the church. I was supposed to be going this year, but I declined and said that I would go another year. We only get to go every 3 or 4 years anyway, but I have definitely promised that I will do my due diligence in attending at least one more General Assembly before I retire. See? One for me. But the reason that we really should attend the General Assembly is because different ministers and different elders who attend each different year, we all have different views, we all have different theologies. And sometimes a situation or something can be passed, a deliverance can be passed one year, but had it gone to the General Assembly the year before, well, it might not have passed because of who's there. So we are such a wide and diverse church, and we do in all of Cross Scotland appeal to people of all ages, from the people who are very liberal to the people who are very conservative. We have it all in the Church of Scotland. And the General Assembly, highest court of the church, they make the decisions, they tell us what to do out in the presbyteries and then also in our churches. But I promise I will go and take part once more. But it's like everything. We all have to take part in everything that we do. So if you are a member of a church, if you are a member of a club or an organisation, can I urge you to do your due diligence and take part in whatever they are doing, anything they're organising. Go on the committee, help out. Don't wait to be forced to do it and be cajoled and say, look, we're desperate, can you not help us out? Take up that baton, just like we carry the baton for Jesus. Take that baton up, whatever it is you're doing, and say, I can help with that. I can do that. It makes everyone's life so much easier. Have a great week ahead, folks. God bless.